Let me know and I'll come.
Let us pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, today we thank you for each and every one that's here. Lord, we pray today, Lord, that you direct each and everything that's said, each and everything that's done. God, I ask you just to bless those that's here, those who may be listening. Lord, that you just guide the commissioners today, Lord, that will say and do what's pleasing to you. We ask you to go with us to the remainder and let all things done be in thy complete will. For us in Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody today. I was told that I need to hurry this meeting up about a few people. All right, we're going to hit, we're going to adopt the agenda, addition or deletion.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to add 79 corridor for Commissioner.
Do you have anything else?
I don't have anything for voting purposes. All three of the discussion. I'll be as quick as possible. And Mr. Ellenberg will work on the third, on the employee, the third policy. I just want to give you a quick update where we're on that. I know Ms. Grace has been doing a good job out there. And I just wanted to discuss the Lake Castle permit real quick. And I know I'll probably type something for that, but I just want to get some clarity there. That's it.
All right. Do you have anything else? I would like to add, Spring Valley Pepperville Road Bridge, to the Commissioner's office. I give a motion to adopt the agenda.
So,
Have a motion to second, any discussion? How's the vote?
yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes. To adopt the previous minutes from the regular session, February 17th, 2026. So your motion?
So moved.
Have a motion to second, any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. All right. We didn't have any on the non-agenda audience.
I was giving you a break this time.
I got it.
Giving you a break this time.
I got it. Tri-County Airport Authority updates for Danny.
Good evening, Chair. Commissioner. I'm Danny Exum of the Tri-County Airport Authority. I'm before you today for our annual airport update. According to a study conducted by the state of Florida 4 years ago, your airport was generating over $5 million per year in economic impact to the local economy. According to published FAA figures, we average 78 operations at the airport daily, many of those being military aircraft. Founded in July 1969 by state resolution, the Tri-County Airport Authority is a collaborative effort between Holmes, Jackson, and Washington counties to operate a regional airport at their common boundary. The Tri-County Airport is a public access airport with a runway of 5,398 feet, a certified helipad, tie downs, shade hangars, and enclosed hangars. The airport property consists of 304 acres. We are open to development of the south portion of the property if we can find a company that would enhance the airport services or finances. And that's, I've asked spoken with you before about that dirt road. If we could really get that paid, that would really help us. The airport recently completed upgrades to the electrical pole. We're currently working on hangar site improvements, stormwater improvements. Future plans are perimeter fencing, water tank and hydrant improvements. On behalf of the Tri-County Airport Authority, Washington County Chamber, Holmes County Chamber, and Jackson County Chamber, we are pleased to invite you to the second annual Tri-County Economic Meeting on April the 16th at 5:30 p.m. to be held at the Tri-County Airport. Last year's event was a tremendous success, bringing together more than 80 commissioners, Chamber of Commerce representatives, Tourist Development Council members, Chipola Workforce Board participants, and other economic development leaders. This year, we are expanding our outreach, and we anticipate approximately 120 attendees. Our keynote speaker will be Mr. Brad Kimbrough. He's the CEO of Wiregrass Electric Cooperative and a founding member of the Grove Dothan Geneva, a collaborative economic development initiative involving power companies, county and city leaders, universities, and regional organizations. Prior to my retirement as Chief Information Officer at Wiregrass Electric Cooperative, I had the privilege of working alongside this group, and I am confident that you will find his insights on regional collaboration both valuable and inspiring. This year's meal is generously sponsored by Innovations Federal Credit Union, and we sincerely appreciate their support. We look forward to your attendance. I know last year you guys couldn't make it because of an emergency meeting, but we really would like to appreciate seeing you there. For the last 2 years, I've occasionally taken economic folks from Holmes and Washington County up to the Grove Dothan Geneva meeting to kind of get a first-hand glance at what they're doing, getting all the counties and everybody working together. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring that philosophy, that thought process to all 3 counties with 120 people at one time. And I'm looking forward to this gentleman's presentation. I think you'll get a lot out of it. So appreciate it. If you got any questions, I'll be happy to answer for you.
That's right. So I was gonna go back to the road that needs to be paved. You're back, I think it was about a year ago, you brought that up, and you were saying that that would have a huge impact on it, and on the county and at the airport. What impact would we be looking at?
We have talked to 1 or 2 different companies that would come in with something like maybe an aircraft engine repair. And of course, we hired several employees for this area. But everybody they don't want to drive down a dirt road to get to it. You know? And that's where we're gonna put the water tank. And that would be a benefit to the fire stations in that area, an emergency, they could swing by there and fill up. But just it being on a dirt road, it's almost a non-starter.
Did you ever get an estimate on the cost of that?
No, sir, we didn't.
Do you know if the airport authority has any money to contribute to a project like that?
We do not. We get our funding from FAA and FDOT. And that's usually just cover repairs and hangars and things like that. To actually operate, it comes off of hangar rentals and fuel sales. We get a lot of aircraft that's just passing through the area that stops and buy fuel from us because our prices are so low. So we really do not have any, I mean, our operating budget is slim. And there's 9 members of the authority, 3 from each one of the counties. We're all volunteers. We don't get paid. We have 1 full-time employee and 1 part-time that's supposed to.
I know, with our budget strapped, when we go back to appropriations or something like that, it would really be good to have an estimate on what that would cost to do. Or to look at, your board to look at, we can get together, how we do it, try to see what that would cost. How long is it? Is it quarter mile, half mile?
I believe it's about a half a mile, if I'm not mistaken. Don't half to 3/4 maybe. It's not very far.
I think we brought it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's need to look at that. It's gonna benefit jobs growth, stuff like that. Or maybe something you could bring to the development commission also to look at.
So we can do that. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Any board members got any questions? Thank you, Stan. All right, we'll go on down to the next item, the fiscal and legal impacts of the 287 agreement between the sheriff's office and I, Ms. Kelly Peak.
Stage name, please.
Kelly P. I'm standing here tonight to show you that I'm doing my homework. And the more I learn, the more horrified I am. I came here to ask you to end the 287G agreement, but in the last few hours, I've found out that y'all have no choice. The state of Florida, I realized that in the state of Florida, we aren't even allowed to have the conversation. Because of laws like SB 1808, our local freedom has been stripped away. Even if you wanted to protect our community first, the state has a gun to your head. We've seen this before in history when the central government forces local officers to become their personal enforcement arm. When you take away the local community's right to say no to a federal regime, you aren't in democracy anymore. You're in a police state. This administration is ripping off our country by forcing our taxpayers to fund federal agenda that targets Americans and disables our workforce. The state said we must have an agreement. Then my question to this board is, how will you resist? If you can't end it, will you at least refuse to fund the extension of it? Will you refuse to be serving administrative warrants that are not constitutionally legal? You're not. People are supposed that. I'm so nervous. Administrative warrants are not actual warrants. Judicial warrants are needed to arrest somebody, to search someone. And this has been completely ignored from ICE. You're seeing them terrorize people all the way across the country. I'm sorry, I swear I had this been prepared, but I've just now found out. Just to show you, you can ask all the questions you want, but if you're not asking the right questions, then good. Okay. I know many of you look at me and see you're liberal. You see someone with different politics and maybe different values, but I'm here today because I believe in something that should be bigger than any party. The rule of law. We're told that we need to be afraid. We're told that our communities are being overrun from crime from the outside. But if we look at that actual data from the National Institute of Justice and our own state records, we see a different truth. Immigrants, including undocumented immigrants are arrested less than half the rate of native-born citizens for violent crime. They aren't the source of chaos. They are the backbone of our farms, our kitchens, our construction sites. They're being scapegoated to keep us from looking at the real invasion happening right here in our own backyard. We talk about invaders, but I want you to look at who's actually overstepping their bounds in the country right now. There's a push to turn our local deputies, men and women we know and trust, into a federal task force for ICE. History has a name for this. In 1930, Germany, 1930s, in the 1930s, the Nazi regime didn't start with the Gestapo. It was massive civil force. They coordinated the coordination of political police. They took law enforcement and turned them into auxiliary police. They used the SS and SA to usurp local authority until the police no longer answered to the community but only the regime. This isn't just a theory. As of January 2026, federal judges have flagged nearly 100 instances where ICE flat out ignored orders. They are operating as if they're above the law. They're currently being sued for alligator Alcatraz, a lawless detention center in the Everglades, where people are held without charge off the grid away from legal oversight. And you look at the deals they offer. They dangled a $2,500 bribe for self-deportation to children and families. They called it an incentive. The reports coming back from the field, the money isn't being honored. It was a bait and switch, a trap to get people to waive their constitutional rights to a hearing, only to leave them stranded and penniless once they cross the border. The most heartbreaking thing is what's happening to the children. ICE is currently holding over 3,800 kids in custody. They are reaching into our foster care system and ripping children away from vetted, safe sponsors. They are re-detaining 14-year-olds who are already settled in homes, sending them back into a black box detention center where reports of medical neglect and psychological trauma are skyrocketing. And in the Dilley Family Detention Center, there's a group that they call the Blue Butterflies. It's the young girls, the teenagers, and they've been separated from the rest of the population, and nobody knows what's happening to them. There's the Congress people are not allowed to go in and check out the facilities. But everything they're doing is beyond the law, and it's inhumane, and we're better than this. And I know that the state is forcing the sheriff to take part in this, but the sheriff's oath is to the Constitution. And if they're asking him to break laws that will end up in litigation, civil rights lawsuits that they aren't going to be paying, and the local taxpayers will be paying for those. They're asking him to violate the law, and for what? I know that y'all recently, the state was recently awarded a big sum of money, but from what I understand, they're getting, most of the county's not getting a chunk, especially considering the risks that they're taking. Putting y'all on the front lines to do their bidding and escape accountability. And I know all you people, I know that y'all are good people, that
Kelly, what are your, I mean,
I came here to ask y'all to end the 287G agreement with ICE, but I recently found out that y'all can't end it, that you're being forced to, and I just want to know, what are y'all gonna do if they come here and try to treat any of us like they've been doing other people? They're not giving, people aren't given due process, they're out running around outside the law, they're just thugs. And they've been told they've got immunity, but, history shows that in the end, following orders is not going to save you from any civil rights lawsuits that you have to face.
yeah, and as you know, I'm sure you talked to our sheriff about it, but I mean, he's the constitutional top chief law enforcement officer of the county. And he's done a good job so far with what we've had.
I mean, I know, John, it's not just your job, it's your family legacy.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to have to be faced with anything or painted as a villain because of following orders. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well,
I just know that I saw when I see people being ripped away from their families, people being held without due process, not being allowed to speak to their lawyers. But these facilities they're not allowing any oversight. People can't go in and check and see the conditions of it. I mean, it's wrong. The Constitution protects people from cruel and unusual punishment. It gives us the right of due process, whether or not you're documented or not. If you're on American soil, you have that right, and this is being ignored, and we shouldn't be taking part with an agency that's acting like this outside the law, taking away your autonomy. I mean, telling you what you can do in your own county. A federal agency can't force local law enforcement to participate in their federal programs under the 10th Amendment. And then why is it happening? I mean, the state is demanding that, it's saying that it's mandatory that they participate, but the federal government says it's voluntary. I mean, it's raised some current concerns about the legality of all this. And I really wanted to come and just talk about how great immigrants are for our country. I mean, they commit crime at much lower rates than native born citizens. And they contribute greatly to our economy. They reduce the GDP by $14 trillion in the past 20 years. And they're good people. They work hard. They contribute. They pay in taxes. If they're undocumented, they don't get any government assistance. They don't get any Social Security, and they've just been painted as parasites, poisoning the blood of the country. We've heard that before too. And this is a lot of money wasted on harming good people when we could be doing stuff here in our county. I'm sorry, I'm not. But just please consider resisting the unlawful things that's being asked.
First of all, it would have been really nice if she would have come to the office and sat down with me so I could try to help her understand what we do and why we do what we do. But she didn't bother to come sit down with me or call me, come sit down to talk about it.
you and ask you about.
So I would disagree. Not every illegal immigrant's a good person. And we can see it in the news every day. You got murderers, just like every citizen of, legal citizen of the United States, not a good person. That's the reason we have the judicial system. But throughout my career at the Holmes County Sheriff's Office, we've worked hand in hand with our federal partners, FBI, U.S. Marshals, ATF, DEA. I worked with DEA for years, working drugs without controversy. Cooperation between local and federal law enforcement has always been about one thing, that's public safety. Now that we've entered into partnership with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which every sheriff in the state of Florida has entered that agreement, suddenly there is criticism. The only difference is the federal agency involved. That raises a serious question about consistency. We do not enforce the laws based on race, ethnicity, or background. We enforce behavior. If someone commits a crime in Holmes County, they will be held accountable, whether they were born here or not. Since July, Holmes County Sheriff's Office has arrested 9 individuals who are in the country unlawfully. Every one of those arrests stem from some criminal violation, whether that be probation violations, driving offenses such as no driver's license or suspended license, possession of controlled substance, and self-control substance. These were criminal cases, not random stops. So 9 months, we've arrested 9 people, 1 per month that were reported or asked them picked up. And by law, when they get through with our criminal charges, we contact ICE. So 1 per month. So I don't think Holmes County Sheriff's Office is going out there knocking on everybody's door and trying to harass the illegals. When we run across them, we deal with it. And you can see by this, most of them have committed some kind of criminal offense in order to be in jail. We're not targeting anyone. However, during the course of a lawful enforcement, we discovered someone is in the country illegally. ICE is notified. That is cooperation. Same cooperation we extend to every other federal agency. If we knowingly release someone who is here unlawfully after committing a crime, that individual later seriously harms someone, question would rightfully be asked, why wasn't federal law enforcement notified? Why was they deported? We see this numerous times over and over in different states, and people have been let go and committed audacious crimes, murder, rape, whatever it may be. God forbid that ever happen here. But my question is, if I was to turn them loose and one of them was to go out and kill somebody, that citizen's going to come to me and say, why didn't you do what you were supposed to do? I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to call ICE, and it's up to them, put a bunch of people there back to do what they need to do. I'm not going to have to answer that question. It is also important to address the financial concerns. Under direction from our governor and the federal government, agencies participating in this program are eligible for reimbursement for funds expended in carrying it out. As of today, the only cost incurred by Holmes County Sheriff's Office has been housing the 9 individuals we arrested, which is a minimal compared to approximately 180 inmates we house daily. There has been no extraordinary burden placed on the taxpayer. You didn't see us the other day, we went to Bay County and they gave us a check for $24,000. That is on a reimbursement. Basically said, here's a pot of money. If y'all spend money doing this, here's the money that we're going to reimburse you with. That's not an upfront money. It's not, I can go spend it on whatever I want, but it's if we house illegals, then they'll pay me for housing them, and they'll pay me stipends for my guys that are certified. We have 3. Out of 100 people at the Sheriff's Office, we have 3 that are certified that can do the 287G. Public safety does not operate on double standards. We cannot hold our local citizens accountable by ignoring violations committed by others simply because the issue is politically sensitive. Our responsibility is clear. Just protect the citizens of Holmes County, and that is what we will do. And I wish you would come for coming up here and doing this, to come sit down and talk to me and explain all this stuff. You know, we're not out there trying to hurt the people out there working. But if we run across somebody out there on the road and stop them, they have a warrant, or they commit some kind of criminal offense, and we arrest them, yes, we're going to call ICE because they're here illegally. And ICE will determine whether or not they need to be deported or not. That's on them to come get them. You know, we're not out there going to Mexican restaurants, people going to schools or going wherever, but in our day-to-day actions, yes, we will encounter people. We encounter people on the interstate. We do have some here, we go to domestics and arrest them for domestic violence. And, they're here illegally. Do I think there are great people that are here? Yes, there's some good people. There are also some good people here that live here. I don't believe that I should treat them and turn a blind eye to what they're doing and me locking up people that live here every day. That's not fair. That's a double standard.
That's not what I'm asking.
So, you know, but that's what, I mean, that is kind of what you're asking. It's not, or do
Hey, hold it down and
but, you know, all this could have been solved. We wouldn't be here today. Somebody just took the time to come sit down and talk, and I could explain this to them. And, you know, Bay County, they've arrested 1,000. I wish that would be another day. You know, they have a whole lot bigger population than we deal with. And, you know, I agree, we got a lot more things to worry about than illegals, but, you know, day-to-day business, we'll run across a few of them. And, you know, some of them are out there committing crimes, possession of drugs, selling drugs, driving without a license. One of them's driving, hits your family, they have no insurance, no license, kills them, you know. Then what's it gonna be? So, from people saying that we're out here doing stuff that we shouldn't be doing and talking about, getting sued, it's law enforcement's a job that you be sued at every day. We take that risk every day. And we try to do it the best of our ability, and that's the reason, you know, most of the people we put in jail on the 287G have local criminal charges. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, sir.
All right. We'll go down to the 2025-2026 budget amendment, number 1A.
Yes, you should have in your packet the first budget amendment for this fiscal year. We're just bringing on some additional grant revenue, and some donations and the Lake Cassidy revenue for some line items that, expenditures that you approved. We've moved some money from contingencies to other line items you approved, and, I just need approval for this, please. If you have any questions.
Board, any questions? I hear a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? How's the matter?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go on down now to the, insurance specification, Mr. Ryan Neal.
I would say that, disclaimer, the title of that's a little bit, not correct per se, but, my name is Ryan Mims. I am a lifelong resident of Holmes County, from New Hope. I've spent the last 13 years working for a state agency with, taking care of another county. And I feel like I've neglected the county in which I grew up in and love, and my family's from, long, deep roots in. And I've been meaning to be engaged a little bit more in Holmes County, and, you know, just life and everything. But now that there's a commissioner that, you know, is a stone's throw away from where I live in New Hope, I feel like it's a good time to kind of just introduce myself, talk about anything I can volunteer for, or anything that might be of a, I can help with in any way. I'm currently getting my doctorate in public health at University of South Florida. Love data analytics, helping in any way to make the community healthier and better. Anything from food insecurity to overdose prevention to affordable housing. I've dabbled in a lot of different things in the last 13 years of me working in a neighboring county. But if there's anything I can help with, I know grant writing came up a little bit. I'm not looking to be a grant writer full time or get paid for anything. Just willing to volunteer and be an example for my generation of how to be civically involved and engaged in where you live. So I've sent an email earlier today to kind of introduce myself a little bit more, my resume, all of that kind of stuff. But anything that you think I could help out with, I'm willing to help. So yeah. Any questions?
Revenues for the economic growth of the airport. Is there any up there with that, Ray?
I can definitely look into that. There's a lot of programs out there for economic development. It's always good to kind of tie it to something else. So if there's a way to tie it to maybe something emergency management or something with increasing capability and capacity with something, that's usually a better kind of spin to a grant application. That's what they really look for, is something unique that will help, not just singularly help one thing, but kind of expand it out to something else and let it touch something else. So I can definitely look and see if there's anything available and shoot it your way.
We appreciate you coming in.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Ron.
For all three counties.
We'll go now next to the next item, the West Florida electric fee for Bonnet Goody. I talked to Jane about this, and I'm gonna ask her this time to come up.
Mr. Memphis is here. He may be able to provide.
Good evening, Commissioners.
How you doing?
All right, so, part of the bond pay Brittany plans and specs, there were, originally 11 poles on the plans that says relocate by others. And that means that, the county is responsible for relocating those poles. West Florida, I've been working with West Florida, and they've come back with only 9 poles need to be relocated along the bond pay Brittany. The price to relocate those 9 poles, they came out to be $48,900. I've been working with Jane and Mr. Corbin, and we do have some budget for fencing on the project. And because the project got decreased in length, there's some money left in that budget. And I think it's around $18,000 to $20,000. So we can use that to help with this cost. So I guess what I'm asking is the county to help foot this bill to relocate these poles so we can continue to move forward with construction. About 30,000.
So my question, Jake, when he started looking at the fencing, there on Bonnet, we, there was a lot of temporary fencing that we looked at, we pulled that back, I think there was some trees that we looked at. Is that gonna wrap everything up, especially right there at the Y, where that lady had that pool, because I know we had to go back to the fence up for that.
We've already accounted for that.
Okay.
So
And then everything on the Reed property and all that, everything. Pretty much. But,
yes, yeah, I mean, it hadn't been installed yet, but best we can tell, yes, that all that would be accounted for inside of the budget. Plus, we'll have about 18,000 to 20,000 left in that budget to help out with all this cost.
Was there any change orders? I know we did a lot of changes. I know you did
Yeah,
a lot of changes right away.
Yeah, I've been working with that. Been working with DOT. We had to do some, go back to the design engineer. We had to do some different drainage down on the west end of the project. DOT's paying or helping us out, paying for all of that. There is some additional driveways that we're gonna have to, put side drains in because of, houses, residents that's moved in since the design of the plan of the project.
Would that be covered under that same?
I'm working with DOT right now. I feel pretty confident. I don't have anything in writing. I feel pretty confident that they're going to help us out with those. I put out there, I think there's 4 additional driveways, on the east end of the project that, will need, side drains and mitered in sections to match the rest of the driveways that we're doing on the project. That's probably gonna come out to be another $20,000 to $25,000. I feel pretty confident DOT's gonna help us out with that.
You think they're gonna take care of that?
I think so. I don't have anything in writing, but I've talked to them and, they told me verbally that we could go ahead and overrun those quantities, but I got to get something in writing.
So what would West Florida asking for now on this, that will complete all of this?
That's what they're saying. They gave us this invoice for $48,900. Got an email today that said they're ready to jump on it and get those poles out of the way so we can continue grading, ditches and finishing dirt work on the project.
I think the best place, maybe one of the best places to pull that from would be, I don't know, DT, is that a suitable place, Angie, to pull that from?
Yes, sir.
So you need a total of 31,000. I mean, I don't have a definite number because I don't know the exact number.
Well, that's why I was wondering if there needs to be a buffer in there of some sort.
I mean, just to be safe, I think 35 would probably be a good number. I don't think we're gonna need that much, but I just don't know what the total number is gonna be left in that fencing budget. I'll give us a couple.
That's just concerning for me because we have done a lot of jumping over there, moving back and forth.
But I mean, we've measured the fence on the project and I got a price. We have a linear foot price of fence, so.
We're still going off the bond picture with price that we got when we bid it.
Yes.
Right.
David worked with, fencing contractor for that. So we got a pretty good number. I feel pretty confident. It'd be nice to have a little buffer there, a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
To make sure we.
I just go ahead and make a motion, pull it out on the LGT, $35,000.
Motion on board to pull 35,000 from, moving of the pole. Like LMGT, do you hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion to second, any discussion? How do you vote?
Yes.
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 Appreciate it.
Now, I just want to say this was all in the original, for the ones that don't know, this was all in the original plan.
Yes.
However, due to the alignment of the road change and a few other things, that's why we got into this part. And we had the same issue on the phase one of Bonfay 3 or 4 years ago now, and that's 10 years ago, I don't remember. But we had the same problem with the poles on them.
That's right.
But I'm impressed because when they initially started, they estimated this project to be 100,000 on these poles.
I think we're working together on this to make this happen, so.
Or 9?
No, there were more at that point. There was additional poles, there was a lot more, which I think we spent more on phase one.
And there's other components to this, than just the 9 poles. I think that West Florida's doing more work.
Yeah.
than Just the 9 poles, so.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And this is the invoice from West Florida. It came to the county, so we just need to make sure we get that check over to West Florida. As soon as they get that check, they said they're ready to.
Already need a motion.
I'll make a motion, Chairman, sign.
Second. Have a motion to second, any discussion? How do you vote?
Yes.
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 Thank you,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
All right, we're going down to the chamber invoice, rural county dates. Okay, what?
So Miss Donna Melvin had come by last week and said that in years past, the board has been willing to compensate or adjust some of the cost of the booth and the giveaways for Rural County Days in Tallahassee. Miss Melvin has since resigned from the chamber, so she asked. But the booth rental is $750 and they get $250 reimbursed from Opportunity Florida, so that would be $500 total on the booth. There's also, they give away, pork rinds and donuts, and invoices should be in your packet. So in the years past, we paid a percentage of the total cost. I think last year's is in there, Ms. Angie provided what line item it was from. And they were just hoping that they could get that portion reimbursed again this year from the chamber, to the chamber.
Well, what are they asking for reimbursement? I'm trying to make the details of this.
The
I mean,
booth
I'm talking about dollar figure on this paper.
280.
280? Or is it 485? Yeah, see, I couldn't tell you that. It's a 485.
You get a 280 for the bill.
Okay.
The problem is, we paid that from the promotional activities budget, and we zeroed that out this year to balance.
Are they asking for $205 from the development commission? Is that what that 205 is?
I didn't ask Ms. Melvin if she was taking invoice there, but I believe she did.
She said, it says we're paid by home county development commission.
40 minus 205 equals 280.
Yeah.
We in here, 45.
She's requesting 485 from Holmes County.
205 minus 485. That's what. So I'm trying to figure that out.
I don't have that right in front of me.
Yeah, we can do it, right? Yeah, because, confused.
So then. So I can actually say that this is the total here. So I think they were gonna pay a portion of it. They were gonna pay a portion of it. I think this is what they were requesting from the development commission. I didn't do this now.
Thing. We don't know that line anymore. We got rid of that. So, I don't know, the way I'm reading it, I'm gonna have 205 from the development commission, minus 405, which is 280. So, if the development commission gives 205, I mean, we can go ahead and do 280 today. If something happens, they can come back. I mean, that's just my thought. I don't know what's the board's thought.
Well, they got the 280 as the end of the figure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is 205, 280. So.
I'm just a messenger, I'm sorry.
So,
I think, I'll read it as 280.
so we all, we'll make a motion. You guys okay? Yeah. I'll make a motion, we'll pay 280 from, board contingencies to the, EDC and reimbursement for their, doings that, rural county days. It's different or something.
It's to the chamber.
To the chamber. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I don't know why I read that. Okay, yeah.
All right, have a motion on the floor to take the 280 out of contingencies. Do you hear a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes. Yeah, yes.
Yes. All right, we're going down to the, official planning, ICC building department fee schedule, which we've been.
Good morning, Commissioners, or good afternoon or evening, or I don't lose track of time, I apologize. Keith Bennett, building official, Holmes County. A little bit misleading. The information is, it's not a fee schedule change. I'm not presenting a fee schedule change. What I'm actually asking for is that we adopt the ICC building evaluation table is what we're looking for. And basically what that does is it just gives us a square footage price for new construction. It's nothing to do with remodels. It's nothing to do with all of the fees we already have fixed prices for. What it does, it's a tool for me and my staff to use to evaluate for building permits. That's primarily what it's for. Holmes County had adopted this in the past. The evaluation tables do change, usually around every 6 months or so. What they do is they take in consideration the economy, the building costs, and that's how the prices fluctuate. What I'm proposing is that the commissioners tonight, if they adopt this, they would just go ahead and adopt the changes. So that way we don't have to come back every 6 months and visit this, like I said, they fluctuate up or down. And again, all this does is it gives me and my staff a square footage price basically to deal with. So there's no fee changes or anything like that. I do want to be very clear about that. I'm not asking for any more money or anything like that. And no more extra burden on anybody, just simply a tool.
So you're saying this is just a guideline?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So basically, and I know you talked to me about this offline,
Yes,
and I did some looking at this. So basically what this is a program used nationwide or
Yes, sir.
citywide. And it basically helps you guide you on proposal of what the current cost is on a project that you do. So let's just say, maybe not a house, or maybe just say 4-car garage. somebody comes out there and builds it, square footage, you include your wiring, electrical, whatever's not in there. And you use this guide to kind of tell what that place would appraise at,
Yes, sir.
not going off of the actual cost
Right.
of what it was done, but the actual appraisal cost based on this right here.
Yes, sir.
Now, and I don't think I asked you this question, or I might have. That appraisal cost, you document that, correct?
Yes, sir.
In your
Yeah,
permits.
right.
Those appraisal costs then get turned over to the property appraiser for their ability to charge taxes based on that.
That's correct.
Okay, so let's say this, let's just say this. If I decide to build out 2 cars, 4 car garage we talked about, and hypothetically, I'm definitely not gonna do this, but I'm gonna cut down my own trees, cut my own lumber, do this, do all this, and I'm gonna save all this money. That appraisal and that actual value is gonna be actually less than what this shows, am I correct?
It would, however, I mean, permit fees are already based off of, actual cost. If you were to hire a contractor to do the work, it doesn't matter if you saved up for, quite a few years to do. Also, the Florida Building Code doesn't allow you to use, rough stone.
I'm just saying, for instance, if I was gonna save money, I had to put back or whatever. So the actual cost then would be, when this comes out there and does it, this is gonna say, well, that's worth 100,000, but I actually only got 40,000.
Oh, right, yes, sir, yeah, I mean, so it's a real evaluation of how much that property, or, that tangible property is worth once it's been, approved as far as, now, it may not quite cost you that much, but like you said, if you're saving the labor by doing some of this stuff yourself, or, you've had some lumber donated, stuff like that, but again, we've always based our fees based off of actual material cost and labor cost, as if like you were hiring a contractor. So nothing really changes there. Like I said, all we.
No, not the fees, not the,
Right,
not
right,
the
right.
inspection fees, which they're
Right.
set in stone.
We just simply plug in a number. That's what we're.
But it does affect it on the long run when you get done in the documentation of the appraisal based on this, I don't know, score sheet or program. So that's the only effect it would have at the end of the day. If this building's worth 120,000, it's not built it for 40, basically.
Right, right.
And that information carries on all the way to the property appraiser and everywhere else.
It would, yes,
Okay.
sir, yes.
Because it would be
Yeah.
mistakes.
Right, right.
I just want to verify that. 'Cause that's how I thought it worked.
Yes, sir, yeah, yeah, after a home is been sealed and it goes to the property appraisers, they usually try to use that construction evaluation for their figures as well.
Yeah.
So,
Let's see, how much, more with that? Or how you doing right now, or how it's being done? Not-
well, typically it would be the highest, so if they came in with an actual number, and it was higher, than the ICC table, we would use that figure. What I'm seeing is a lot of times is folks are coming in with an evaluation, that's considerably less. And, and I have to have a frank conversation with them and say, hey, congratulations, you just solved our issues with our, affordable housing that we're facing across the country, because you're building a 2,500 square foot house for $120,000, which is just, you can't do. I mean, I don't care. It's impossible. Maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago. But material costs and stuff like that are right there. It wouldn't, $120,000 wouldn't cover the material cost for a house like that. So the building department gets an audit. We get audited every few years. Pensacola comes in. We're already starting to get some pre-audit questions and stuff like that. So, I have to show them my books and show them real numbers as well, and usually what I end up doing is having a conversation with the owner and just letting them know, hey, we have to have a realistic number here. We can't just base it off of this. This is almost silly. But again, it's not to really, it's not to burden anybody. It's simply to help, my staff to building department staff to do a better evaluation. And so, and again, you know, realistically, a permit for new construction house is 5/8 of 1%. That's what a building permit costs, about 5/8 of 1%. Now, there's a lot of numbers that are floating in here with some examples and stuff like that. We're not using the ICC evaluation, because I've done the math, and if we were to adopt the entire fee schedule, it would be an increase. We're not doing that. We're simply using the square footage number, plugging it back into our pre-established permit fees. So
Chief, you said we had this before.
we have, yes, sir. It's been adopted. It's been adopted. I can't remember when it was, but I went back in the archives and it did show that Holmes County had adopted it. I think we're probably the only county around that's hasn't currently adopted it.
You know, at the end of the day, what it does is keep the value of the property taxes lower, because if you're going off of the fee schedule, then you just happen to go off.
Right. Yes, sir.
And, you know, and by doing this, it increases the property value of this new house that was built or new garage that was built, because now you're going, you're going at the International Code Council, ICC is the one rating it at this time. So, I mean, you're gonna be up with everybody else, so is everything, but, you know, property taxes, you know, it's gonna happen. But you're right, it is a tool, and it probably is cumbersome for you to go back and look, try to figure out these numbers and see how this is comparable to this, how this works. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you got somebody, you got your neighbor, somebody trying to save money, they're gonna do all they can to save money, they don't wanna have to pay taxes on that money either. But it's a simple situation.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Mr. Keith, was something you need to know today, or?
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't have to be, you know, adopted today or anything like that. You know, I mean, it can be something that, you know, again, if you, you know, needed time to digest it and look things over. Like I said, I don't want you to read the first part and be misled. Really, it's just the tables at the end of this handout is what the evaluation is based on. Yes, that's really what it amounts to. So, again, we're not,
I know you, and I know how you work, and I think just.
so, yes, and, you know, and in the case of like, Panama City, each, they use 90% of the evaluation, so they're not using the full 100%. So they do a 10% reduction on the evaluation right off the bat. So, because their costs are a little bit different, you know, maybe the panhandle across the board is cheaper than, you know, to build in other places. So, and I 100% be open to that as well. It's not, you know, I think that's actually pretty fair myself. So.
Is this something the board wants to look at today, or then bring back next week? Or whatever.
I mean, I wouldn't mind keep looking at, if you could cut it some, yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean, well, like I said, if we do the, you know, if we do the 90% of the evaluation on the square footage price, I think that's a very fair, you know, process. Because that would keep the evaluation lower, you know, by 10%, like I said, based off of construction costs in our area, you know, versus, I mean, because the ICC table across the country.
What are you using now, Keith, since you're not using ICC table?
We just use the evaluation that they give us.
So if they say they built a house for 40,000, you're just saying they built it for 40,000?
No, sir, no, they have to have, so I'm not allowed to, by ask them for a contract price, but I can ask for a material price. So I can get the evaluation of material, and then usually typically we double that for labor. So, and again, that's probably, that number's probably pretty low.
Yeah, yeah. So the ICC, is there an individual price and a contractor price, or is it just one?
No, sir, it's just the square footage price.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So whatever we said in there is.
Yeah, it just makes the math that much easier.
your questions and Keith on this, by the board.
Not really, so. And this, you're still gonna work off the current 2023.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, we are not raising, this is not about a fee schedule at all. This is simply just adopting
Yeah,
an evaluation tool.
this just brings it fair across the board.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That really ain't no problem. Definitely the way Walkie does it.
Well, I don't like, I'll just be honest with you, I like to go off of I like the fact that a person's gonna build their own house, and like he does, that he takes the price and doubles it the time of material versus going off of this fee schedule, because now the product tax is gonna be based on this international fee schedule.
Yes.
Well, and just for clarification, I think Brian already uses a square footage price on some of his stuff as well. So, which would probably be really close to that 9% of the ICC valuation. So,
I like, yeah, me personally.
but I don't want to talk to Brian. I mean, I've had a conversation with Brian over there. So, whatever. And
Maybe we want to table it till we do a little more.
he was certainly.
Well, I've done a lot of research on it. I mean, I called, he called me, we talked about it, I did a lot of research on it. And like I said, I mean, it boils down to going after an international, this has nothing to do with building fees. This is an international total council. And what they're going after an estimate based on the final finished product and a percentage of what that's worth versus what you tell them what it actually costs. And there's no room in here for individual buildings versus a contractor. They got one standard fee.
But
The 90%.
well, it's, they're supposed to be submitting the evaluation of the house currently is supposed to be based off of whether they were hired a contractor and material cost. It doesn't matter if they do it themselves, it doesn't matter if they have the wood, it doesn't matter if they have the windows. That's how we base the fees, the building department base, the fees are based off of hiring a contractor to do the work.
Which I understand, because it helps you guys a lot easier to go to this fee schedule.
Yes, sir.
5 times square foot.
Right. Yes.
I mean,
And then, like I said,
Right, more work.
we do a, 10% discount on that, to keep that, for our area.
Yeah.
So,
So if what will it change? What will it change? In reality, what's it gonna change?
no, it just makes the math a lot easier for us as the, like I said, the staff, and we're trying to figure these numbers out, and then we have to have this open conversation with folks, like I said, when they come in and they're really low on a fee, and then I have to have a really an awkward but frank conversation, to say, hey, you can't, it's just impossible. You can't possibly build that house for $80 a square foot. It's just, can't do it. Material cost alone would be more than that. So, that's what it does. It saves us a lot of time and effort, and it makes it a kind of fair cost over. We're not, taking in, we're also talking new construction only. We're not talking remodels. We're not talking all these other things. This is just strictly new construction. Whether it's commercial, whether it's the hospital, the new hospital addition or pilot or, eventually busy bee. It's just an evaluation table. So.
Let me ask you this, when you, if we table this and you come back with maybe 2 examples that you've done in the past, that it comes in and
Sure.
kind of.
Sure, we can definitely dig up some information like that, I mean, it's.
Versus
definitely-
one with the fee and versus one with the.
Yeah, that's what I was some kind of.
Yeah. No, and because that's what's gonna be on, I don't know what's gonna happen with property taxes, I keep saying that.
Yes, sir. I mean, I did some numbers, and I was just doing and I don't usually deal with fee schedules and even the permit fees. I kind kind of purposely do that because then I don't have to get 101 questions in the field, me give somebody wrong information or misinformation. But I crunched our numbers and, you know, and it's, you know, it's slightly more, but it's not devastating.
Well, and I respect what you said, because like you said, you have that awkward conversation with them and they get upset, you know, they get mad, but that same awkward conversation is gonna start coming to the board meeting once this is put in place. And I think if all of us kind of see an example and understand what we're doing before we do it, we know how to explain ourselves.
Sure, I can put together some examples and some real, you know, stuff that, we dealt with, on a day to day. So.
I appreciate that.
Does the board want to just do 90%? What are you figuring is?
Yes.
You want to just do that?
Yes, sir, we can do that.
All right, just bring it back to us next.
It's minus 10%, based on two transactions.
Okay.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
all right, we'll go down to, land use amendment.
So originally, when we scheduled this, is the second public hearing for Williams Land Use Amendment. Y'all were scheduled to have a meeting tomorrow, so that's what it was advertised for. So this is just to let everybody know that it's been moved to the March 17th meeting at 9 a.m. for the second public hearing. Thank you.
All right, moving partners.
Chairman, just a really quick update. As you recall, the legislative session is scheduled to conclude next Friday, but the budget conferees did not meet over the weekend. So we don't have a schedule yet for when there'll be budget conferencing to basically reconcile the $1.4 billion that the two sides are apart. Deadline that we're looking at is next Tuesday evening because you know, the budget has to sit on their desk for 72 hours before they can pass it. So that would allow them to finish the schedule on Friday the 13th. We don't think that's going to happen. You know, they had some, you know, closed door talks and they exchanged some top line numbers, but all indications are right now, as Speaker Perez said the other day, we're going to learn soon and we're going to be here the next 2 weeks or 2 months. It's looking more like 2 months. So, you know, we'll be following that for y'all, giving you updates. We know at least one special session's already been scheduled for congressional redistricting for late April. It looks increasingly likely that there'll be one for property taxes. You know, the measure that the House passed, it doesn't seem like the Senate has much interest in taking it up, especially here in the last 10 days of the legislative session. Governor's also made it pretty clear that this wasn't anything he intended to tackle during session either. So that'll be something that we watch as well. And then whether or not the budget will be part of that carry forward as well. We get the sense in Tallahassee that they're not all that motivated to pass the budget in the next couple of days. They just assume come back, budget forecast, allows them to maybe wait a little bit longer to make sure they've got all that clear. So that's where everything stands as far as the 26th legislative session. Just want to give you a quick update on the EDA grant that y'all directed us to pursue at your last meeting. We're putting pen to paper on that, and our folks think that the bridge repairs and the dam repairs are going to make for a good argument, a good case for that particular grant. So we'll keep you posted on that.
What is the vibe in Tallahassee now with the Senate adopting that bill or a bill to deal with property tax? And where's that at? Have you heard anything?
Well, I know when the House passed that measure, it was radically amended on the floor to basically eliminate property taxes immediately, as opposed to phased out. And then the House Speaker was able to basically say, well, we passed something, y'all haven't, what's taking so long? And then when they interviewed the president later that day, he said, no, I mean, this isn't something we should rush. It's not an exercise in futility. We need something on the ballot that we think is actually going to garner 60% of voter support. And I think implying that what was passed by the House may not be that. So I think we're going to see a much different iteration of that.
That was a
come,
hundred,
come from the Senate.
wasn't that 100,000 per year for 10 years?
Right, yeah. And then they amended it basically to phase it out beginning 2027.
So, and then the Senate didn't like that.
And they've not proposed a single property tax proposal this session, so.
Which 100,000 would be $1 million for Holmes County, I think, per year. So that's why I'm just curious what was that?
So like, again, we don't anticipate seeing anything come from the House and the Senate before they wrap their work up on the 13th. It'll probably be a few weeks later. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, thank you. All right, we'll go down to the county engineers, Newberry. Mel?
Cut my hair off. You cut that hair off.
All they gone?
Jake does have the change order.
All right, we'll go down to the county attorney. Oh, let's get started with the project. Easement discussion.
Yes, sir. So flip over to tab 8 in your binder. We have been working on this easement collaboratively with Vitec for the sketch that's on exhibit A. There's a 12-page easement. If you want to speak on this at any point in time, feel free to step up. But this is more or less a perpetual utility easement for fiber. It's over there north of, that Prosperity Park. Yeah, right there by the tennis courts. That's right. So this is a standard, type easement that we normally do. I don't have any issues with it. It was sent y'all, if you got any questions for myself or Clint.
That last page has a sketch on it. Might make more sense to you.
Page 11, 12.
Yeah, we had, obviously, we needed a fiber building in that community to service those folks. And, we bought a piece of land from Kevin Shoal, which is right behind the tennis courts there. I think you guys have talked with him before about some boundaries. We had that surveyed. And it's a good bit different than the property appraiser's website. So that's an actual survey of that property. So we bought a little 50 by 50 right behind the tennis courts, and we need to be able to get to that right away to get our cable out to service points. So we need to be able to go through that, to be able to drive in there, in and out, and run our cable underground. So that's what the easement is.
That's just barn.
Yes, it'll all be board deep. I mean, it's not going to impact anything. And we'll help keep it maintained. It's just, we got to be able to get from our property out to the edge of the right of way. We'll have cables that go up 81, south of 81 and north 181 and come out of there and go south towards west. So we'll have 4 different cables that'll come in.
Board, any questions for Clint?
Where is the road that you got from that user? You coming off 181? Yes. Yeah, so this is the tennis court. We're on the north side of it. Yeah, this is, but it's about right there. It comes out 50 feet. If that makes sense. It's just a little square right here on, this is actually Kevin Shoal property. Right. We bought a little 50 by 50. So I need to be able to get, I want to run my cable just right on the edge of the south boundary into there, and then we'll be able to drive it.
Well, power poles are right in behind that same area.
Yeah, we'll bury our power
Yeah.
there with it.
But I'm saying,
There's one on that side of there, south of there, but there's also one that crosses the road north. Yeah.
yeah.
So we either gotta go, we'll have to get with Westport Electric to see if they want to go south or go under. That's it.
Hey, you know, I'm calling this anybody. Here,
I make most of that. Utilities, man. Kind of the signature from the camera.
all right. Motion forward to your second.
Second.
All right, motion is second. Any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Clint. Thank you. next item is this task work order for making consulting. Fairly, not here tonight, David is either. We've been working with them, as y'all know, with Venture Consulting. This is for, best I can tell from Miss Amy, we're, this is for them to go and close out projects under our existing FEMA work. The issue that I'm having here is we don't know if all of it's gonna be reimbursable or not. It's dictated based off of the grants that they're in the work that's been performed historically. So it's really, I can't give you all a guarantee that all the 20,000, we're gonna get it back.
This is the 20,000 for her, Helene, right? No.
I'm not sure if that would.
I'm asking, that's what this, because it was my understanding that, that the previous company was gonna get this. Because we paid them that, we paid the final bill.
It's my understanding this is for them to come in initially and do some due diligence work for open projects. Now, if y'all wanna wait and have Metric come and discuss this with us, I thought they were gonna be here, but I know it's Monday night on.
Yeah, I definitely wanna wait, I don't know what the project is, so I see it.
What we're gonna wait on?
Yeah.
We just vote on it.
We'll have them come talk about it as well. Barry will be here as well next. Third, this was an addition, the last two that I have are additions. I'm not asking for a vote or anything right now. This is related to the dirt, 2 loads per person. There's been a little bit of ambiguity, and Ms. Grace, she's doing a good job over there. She's sort of taking on the chin, for some of the property owners, the dirt. Right now, to help her with some clarity is 2 loads per property owner, per person. They can, if they have, for instance, they have a homestead and a 911 address at the home, they've got a property next to it. They're only allowed 2 loads of dirt, but they can pick which property to go home. Or if you don't split 1 load per property.
The way the ordinance was written, which we wrote that 2016, it was initially designed to do 2 loads per address at that location. So.
And it had to be ditched.
It had to be ditched or spoiled dirt, and spoiled dirt was defined in that ordinance.
What do y'all want to clarify that to where it's two loads of dirt for each property? Cause that's.
Wow, you need to deliver.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's the road y'all want.
I thought it was understood that the property owned. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, it was the property with the address, because the purpose of it was just a person living with a physical address.
But if you own 3 properties, and you wanted it B instead of A or C, I mean, that should be your choice.
Well, then you should have 3 addresses, if you had 3 houses and 3 properties.
Yeah, that's
She'll
what
ask you for an address.
What's that for? Run into the issue in my district a few days ago, lady wanted, had 2 addresses side by side. She lived in property A, she wanted property B, but it's told she had to get it delivered to A and then move it over to B.
No, it's delivered to that address.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
you need 4 loads total to each address.
Well, there's a misconception of it, that they have the county on it.
Huh.
Yeah. That's why we had this brought to his attention.
Yeah.
That's what it says in the ordinance, 2 loads per address.
Yeah.
I mean, the board can do it.
I'm saying if you got 3 addresses, you got 3 different.
You got 6 loads.
No, it's only gonna be 2 loads per person, for whatever addresses they have, they got 9 addresses.
Then you
You're gonna get 2 loads per person,
per address, per person, per address.
should be per person.
Well, then we can change the ordinance, but right now the ordinance is 2 loads per address.
Does anybody have the ordinance?
I think I didn't.
Yeah, I remember it.
Another.
It should be by birth, by
I
person.
know what you're saying,
Yeah.
because, I mean, you,
If somebody, you own 6 different properties.
well, you got 6 addresses, you bring it in, and like,
Yeah, but you
Well,
own them,
well,
that
there's
person
lots
will
of
learn to 2 loads.
yeah, I can understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying what the ordinance says.
I think the ordinance does say each address.
Yeah, per
I
address.
think it does now, you speak correct.
Jeff Goodman,
The ordinance says per address.
yeah,
And that's,
Jeff Goodman and myself wrote that thing, it took about 2 weeks to write that.
so if someone had 100 properties,
100 addresses, they get 200 loads.
the caveat there is if you have it. And if you do, I mean, you don't have to create. So that's part of the historical misunderstanding, I think, this is ditch dirt. It may not be the cleanest, it may not be the best.
It should be two loads per person. Yeah, I would think.
Another question that was posed.
In other words, bunch of different entities and properties, they can really take advantage of that question.
Well, let's just say, and we looked at this 2016. So if you say 2 loads per person, okay, what person are you talking about? Because if I'm living at the house, I got a kid that lives over here, who's got a trailer, and I got a kid that's over here, so are they each entitled per person? See, that's what we got into.
Whoever owns the road.
Well, then, so you wanna go, maybe you should say 2 loads per
Owner.
property listed at property appraiser's office, or listed on a tax deed.
Ever how we need to do it, but there's gotta be some kind of stipulation, or if we.
So if there's like 5 owners on that deed, then, I'm just saying.
Maybe they spend a little more time on that than what we do.
And one more thing while we're discussing it, because this, I hate to add to the confusion, because it gets looking hairy when you talk about different types of entities that own dirt. And she, you know, you got LLC, that might be multi-owner, multi-managed, you got a corporation, or partnerships, and you can go down the whole list of entities that one can have in the state of Florida. And maybe that's why y'all did the address.
That's what Mr. Goodman did that. He said it cuts all that out of there at that point. So, I mean, and you can have, I mean, if the board wanted to change the policy, not do 2, you can do 1 per address. I mean, but the whole caveat on there is, in that policy says, only when it's readily available. If you don't have the dirt, you don't have to haul it. It ain't something. I mean, it's gotta be, and this is kind of what's happened over the years. We kind of got away from that because they said, okay, we gotta get caught up. We got 60 loads of dirt to haul. Well, the policy doesn't say you gotta haul 60 loads of dirt. It says you haul 60 loads of ditch dirt that's available. If you're not pulling ditches, they're not gonna get their 60, or the 60 people can get their 2 loads of dirt or whatnot. It's all based on what that ditch dirt is, because the Attorney General specifically states you cannot haul dirt or any dirt that has any value of it to that point. So I mean, you're hauling the trash of the trash out of the ditch to people. Some people don't like it. And like I said, I think it's been a few meetings back, I got into it, where we had to pick up the dirt because it was so bad, people didn't want it. And that becomes an issue. Because you want a bunch of glass and stuff in there, and a bunch of kids playing in, it becomes a liability issue at that point. You know, some counties looked at that and say, no, we don't want to go down this road there.
Well, what I run at, the issue is not the ditch dirt, they don't care about the ditch dirt, or the 50 feet out the right away, but they want it where they want it, whatever.
Yeah.
And they understand they're gonna get 2 loads.
Well, that's something that needs to be looked into, because like I say, the ordinance, you're gonna change the ordinance if you change it from 2 loads to each address. So,
Just need a little more thought put into it. What do you think, Nate?
I think y'all did a good job of moving it to the ditch dirt. I know it's gonna take a while. Why don't we people off that mentality?
Yeah, but like I say, pick on my district, they don't have no problem with the ditch dirt, signing the waiver or the 50 feet off the right of way. But they want it where they want it, they're 2 loads, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On what address they want it.
I think if you left it like it is per address, she could, if he or she, whoever your citizen is, they could then choose to put it wherever they want to, either either parcel. But now you get into, my goodness, you got some landowners that's got, are you going by the, and then it's getting further complicated, is it going by the legal description per section, or is it going by what the property appraiser says or identification number?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you stay to the address, but then, you know,
But you might have a parcel that doesn't have an address, and I don't want an address.
and then they don't get dirt.
But see, what one of my residents was told that she had to get it where her driver's license is. That's where it's a business, that's where business is.
Beyond dirt again.
That's why I reached out to Nate, like, we gotta address this, because this lady thought, she's like, it's like next door where she wanted. She was told she had to have it done here, and then move it over next door to the other house. No, we can't have it that way. We gotta look into that.
Well, it can get complicated as you go back later, though, you can't address each situation perfectly, but, I mean, I think Joe Kim did a good job writing what we have, so I just don't again, you address people that have multiple properties with multiple addresses. So, y'all wanna go something about it more? What do y'all wanna do? Y'all wanna do two?
I would say just leave it like it is right now, and if you run into that situation, to try to get your home and work it out. Okay? You're gonna be able to hold.
I think the clarification probably needs to be made at the road department with Gracie.
Yeah.
And maybe David will sit down with her and explain to her, this is how it's interpreted, this is how it goes.
Well, that's what we kind of talked about on the phone today, me and him, and my foreman, but it's gonna have to be, like I say, interpreted out there to get the clarification.
Yeah, I think that's what David needs to do is interpret it, what it needs to be, that way it's fair across the board.
Consistent.
But I mean, I run into a situation, this is odd, that guy called me up, and I'm not gonna mention no names, but he has like 14 houses all over the county, 15 houses. He said, I'm doing a project over here. I got 15 houses, I get 2 loads per, so I need 30 loads, but I need it delivered to this one location, at this one address, and I'm like, wow, that's just wild, you know, and I go back and look at the policy again. I mean, I guess it'd be kind of, you know, you can't do certain things, you know, but interpretation is the whole.
According to your policy, you can. Right. According to that policy, yes, you can. It's an ambiguous policy, and that's the problem.
It doesn't really, it says you get 2 loads per address. It doesn't say where you get the loads at.
Yeah, so I can get 15
Well,
loads
that's
to
what I'm
one address.
Yeah.
If I have that many times.
If we have the dirt. And it's within 50 feet of the right of way.
They're not gonna have the dirt when that starts. Start getting them excited about it.
Page.
Yeah. You know, I don't think you.
I do. So I got 3 pieces of
Dirt on the thing. I mean, it's a lot to it, like you said. There's just a lot of parts there.
We lose money.
Like Gary said, it doesn't really address where to do it. It's the, sure address, you know, like.
And people are gonna take advantage of a policy. Yeah. They're going to. If the policy is not specific enough, y'all better square that away because here's what's gonna end up happening. I know me, I don't take advantage of it. If I have the opportunity to property, I'm gonna get on a single property. Sorry. But do it yearly. Yeah, it's common sense. If it's not clear, it's not clear. People are gonna take advantage of it. Might as well take care of it now. Be proactive rather than reactive.
Well, it boils down to whether or not you have the dirt. They have the dirt.
All right, thanks. Think about it on this day, y'all. What do you think?
I want y'all to call the next meeting.
Yeah, I'll let that know. Yeah, good idea.
I need to work for you, you 15 addresses.
You want that? We need to move that address up to $250 per address. Are you here?
All right, well, I know it get later, because the last thing I was gonna bring up y'all's attention to, ask is, how many permits are y'all selling at Lake Gas? Do we can have it, or is it, keep selling?
We just ordered it. I mean, what was it?
Where we at right now, 400?
So we originally had 250 of the in-state and 50 out-of-state. I'm trying to get up with some signs, which I've been trying the last 3 days and haven't been able to reach them at all. And we even went by the location, it looked dark. So I'm not exactly sure how to get up with Sims. They're the ones that did the original decals, but it would be a total of 350 in-state if we were able to order this additional 100.
So I guess my question boils down to, and this question for the sheriff's still here, I think interesting some of that. Can you get 350 people in there on Memorial Day, or maybe 80% of them?
You got 40, if you got 40 permit owners there at one time, you got full house. But we didn't figure out some way to.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I mean, I'm just throwing this up, because people have asked me, okay, well, I'm out of state, I paid, what's that fee? James?
500.
I paid 500, and I'm here on July 1st, and all these people paid, or July 4th, and all these people only paid 50, and I can't get in there.
They gonna be back.
And they think are faster than I do.
Yeah, that's his fault.
David Grant, are we on? I'm a veteran, and I was raised up over there, but what if y'all have one from Alabama that comes through and he's 100% disability, he got a leg off, y'all gonna make him pay that $400, $200, whatever that is? I mean, I'm serious. I spent my 4 years there, boys, I'm just saying, I think they deserve it.
Oh, well, you can get a burn.
We just had to get it Thursday. We gotta figure out a magic number that we're working on, that we don't go run into big issues.
You are doing it.
I mean, did you say now you had?
With those 100 to be 350, 50 all right?
That's
Maybe,
correct.
yeah.
That we've sold
250
250, and then
other-
we're hoping if we can get up with some signs to place an order for the additional 100.
But 350 plus, how many out-of-staters?
I've only sold 4, but we have 50 available.
Wow, that's.
Y'all wanna go to a magic number of 400?
Let's try and see what it, you have for it, 'cause it's an old town there, like.
I just hate somebody coming down here after their $50 back out there from all of them.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's actually on the test. First come, first served, so they know it.
Yeah.
It ain't like they don't know what, and everybody knows like.
Probably may not read that fine print.
So, they just wanna-
You wanna make a motion with 400?
I think at least, yeah, I'll make a motion 400.
Is that a cap, Mr. Ellenberg?
I think so, we better cap it this year and see how that carries us. Maybe a change for next year.
I'd say motion is capped at 400. All right, you'll hear a second.
That's it.
Have a motion in a second, any discussion? How's the vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just want clarification. So we're looking at 400 times 4 people maybe in the vehicle. 1,600 people might be showing up at one time. Let's say 50% of those people show up. You got 800 people showing up to the lake. High volume day. It's probably don't take over.
It'll be crowded. Before you can come around. They don't know what they do. They just do it for years that they're like.
Yes.
I'm sure.
None of us know.
Motion carries.
I think we might ought to follow up with a public notice to let people know that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So come get your ticket now while you have a
Yeah,
chance.
because we got a cap on.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We're gonna up those, no, we're gonna keep them the same price.
Well, what if I can't get one at the state price? Can I get that a state one if that's the only one available?
Sure, you want 4 of them, how many you want?
All right, Jay, go ahead. Wendy, you want to wait on the lottery? Okay. I'll wait on that. All right.
Or who's utilizing the properties?
I'll get one on it. All right, we're going down now to the Commissioner's Island. I think you have to see behind closed door.
I got one change order. I apologize, I was getting late. Change order number 1 for Bonifay Brittany is about the drainage that we talked about earlier when I was up here. It's for $43,070 to add 4 head walls and 78 linear foot of pipe.
Is that low end right there, Mike, out property?
No, this is on the west end down by the.
The Y.
Closer to the Y. Yeah, and, DOT's already agreed to pay, well, it's contingent upon DOT's approval, but we have verbal approval that they're gonna participate in the full amount of this change order.
I make motion for change order.
All right. Have a motion for the change order to your second. Have a motion to second, any discussion? How's right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Will there be a change order in that dip right there? Is there any changes coming on that? I was gonna ask you that earlier.
I talked with Cliff on that, and he said that, we're gonna build it as he has it designed at this point.
Okay.
The only thing that's changing in that area are we're adding those side drains to those driveways that have been added since he drew the plans. All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
Restriction, you had to say 9 corridor.
Yeah, so 79 corridor met, a few weeks, maybe, days ago. And one of the big discussions that we had was whether or not if the city of Monterey, the city of Monterey has gave interest about taking over the corridor. And they weren't at the meeting, and the paperwork's been approved by the state, and the corridor, and the attorneys asked if we can go back to boards, Washington County going back to their board. I was asked to come back to our board to instruct our county coordinator to maybe talk to the city about whether or not they have plans this year to take over the corridor. If not, we need to go ahead and plan a budget for another $50,000 for the corridor in this year's budget, which last year we didn't think we were going to. We thought it was going to be transferred at that time, but we kind of really need to know now. That way we need to know whether or not we need to give another 50,000 in budget for this next year. And same thing with Washington County, they just need to know how they get the budget, if the city's gonna take it or not. All the paperwork's been sent to the state, they agreed on letting the city take it over, we've seen all the paperwork, it's just whether or not when they're ready to pull the trigger and take over. Everything on that corridor.
Good luck with that.
They talked really positive there for a while that they were gonna do it, but no one really hadn't heard anything.
Trying to figure out some way to get us traffic.
Yeah.
Visiting comes in, that's gonna be a big issue.
You're gonna have a big bottleneck right there.
Trying to hook the county for all that.
So I guess what I'm asking the board is, that they would go before the city, try to get a resolution or an idea of time frame. That's okay.
Better sooner than later.
Yeah. Do we need that information?
Have you talked to?
I did, yes, sir.
No.
Yeah, no, and I think Jamie talked to him about the talking points because Evan with the.
Mr. Rosenthal sent over some talking points. He's the attorney for the 79 corridor.
Yeah, so he's got the talking points. That's basically what they. That's all I had.
All right. I had the Spring Valley Tuckerville Road Bridge. As y'all know, this bridge has been out. We have tried to work. We tried to get FEMA to pay for it. They did help us out a little bit. We've been before the state, and I was gonna put some numbers before you. The only number I don't have is the CEI, but I'm going ahead and put these numbers before you, and then I'll get that and bring it up next meeting. Local option gas tax fund, we had it 401,200 budgeted. FEMA gave us 67,000, gave us a total of 468,200. The bid came in just for the bridge at 515,000. That is with Walden County, us working out an agreement with them, and they gave us the bridge to put there. All righty, the permits, the sign, the working with the DEP was 226,200. To put this construction RFP is 641. The total that we need right now, this is not counting the CEI, because I got to get a total on that, is 275,000. So I'm just putting this before y'all have a CEI total next time, and we'll, talk to, engineer about where to get the money from. So, I'll just have everything before you next time.
What do you think the best place to get money?
Well, yeah, that, yeah.
And that would be just in this budget year, and then the rest of it would be, how we can get the rest of it to be a completion.
It would be in this budget year.
So
Because they have bid it out. And, like I say, that was the lowest, that's the lowest bid.
That bridge is close to way too long.
Yeah, hey.
We're not gonna do anything with, about doing that land.
I don't think you can go with all of it, I mean, if a bridge goes out in your district, you're gonna go, we just fought this one because we couldn't go back with a wood bridge. State wouldn't approve it. So we tried every means we have to come up with what we could. So, like I say, I'll have it ready the next meeting, the final budget. All right, your motion to adjourn.
Yeah.